everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today is a beautiful show. I know we always say that we go through something every single day in our lives, but the thing isn't necessarily what we go through in our lives. The thing is, how do we keep going in our lives? How do we keep moving when things happen to us? I know we look for inspirations all over. Today, a young lady is going to share her joys, her pain, her suffering, and more importantly, her journey. I'm a little silent here because I know we have 30 minutes, but I know this story because I talked with her in depth. And one thing I can honestly say is I appreciate her coming on, opening up with her story, because it would be difficult for me to share this story. I'd like to welcome all the way from Houston, award-winning actress. I'm throwing it out there. Award-winning author. I'm throwing it out there. Award-winning teacher. I'm throwing it out there. Let's welcome to the show, Justina Page. What's up?
Hey, I'm so happy to be here today. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, no, thank you, because I'm really emotional because I know this story. And it takes a lot. It takes a strong individual to get over this, not even get over, but be willing to say, it happened, I'm blessed, I'm still moving forward, and I'm here to make a difference. Let's start with a particular date in question. 25 years ago, coming up, March 7th. Take the viewers down there. Before we do that, tell the viewers a little bit about you before we go into that particular date.
Well, I'm first of all a strong woman, like you said, but let's give honor where honor's due. Because of a strong God and a beautiful husband, my brown sugar, James Page.
Okay.
Now back to me. I'm an actress, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a podcaster, I'm a lyricist, I do voiceover work, and I run a nonprofit for burn survivors.
Okay. When you say you are an actress, when you say you are a lyricist, you wear a lot of hats. How do you do all these things?
Because I'm crazy. That's the real answer. No, God gives us all gifts and talents, to some 10, some 5, some 1.
Mhm.
I'm probably one of the ones with the 10, and I mean to make good on everything God has given me. So
Let's go to that particular date in questions. The
yeah, that's
coming up with the 25th anniversary. Take the viewers down that particular moment in your life, because that what really paved the way of what the future has in store for you.
it absolutely did, as tragic as it was. March 7th, 1999, my whole life is split between before that and after that. That's how defining that particular date is. And even my whole family references that way. Did it happen before or after March 7th, 1999?
Yeah.
But I awoke to explosions, TVs popping, appliances popping, completely engulfed with flames all around us. A big house fire. It actually was a 4-alarm house fire.
Mhm.
I hit my husband in the head. He jumps up. I holler at him, the house is on fire. He immediately throws me out. Unfortunately, um, I'm in a house with 6 sons, twin sons who are 22 months, and my young sons ranging from age 9 to 6. They're the 4 boys. The 4 boys did what they were taught to do. They got to the point where my husband could find them and he was able to get them out. Now, I had 22-month twin sons who couldn't follow a fire safety plan. So, me, myself, I jumped back in the house. You know, mother's love is deep.
Yeah.
It's just deep. I jumped through flames trying to get to the nursery attached to my master bedroom to get to my twin boys to get them out. And unfortunately for me, my husband and I have always been big readers and writers as well. And we had this big oak bookshelf that fell on me and it captured me. And so I was laying there just skin falling out, burning. I knew I was at my end, or so I thought I was at my end. I could hear my husband's voice fading in. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Now that's a strong man. He jumps back in the fire to find me and pulls me out the second time. And the neighbors had to drag me to the edge of the street. And I'm so injured, they couldn't even touch me. They had to hold me up head to head, and I was on my knees. My husband could not go through to the nursery to get to the twins. He had to run around the back of the house to the neighbor's yard, jump in their yard, jump to our backyard to get to the twins' room window. Jumps in, he saves one. This baby, being a baby, hollers. So he's burnt face, neck, upper extremities, and he's just, just instinct to survive. He just throws them out the window. And then before he's able to get the last son, the house caves in. And we lose our son Amos on sight.
When you were trapped, all kind of things must have went through your mind at that particular moment in time, going back to rescue your children. Now you're pinned down. I can't even imagine what could possibly be going through somebody's mind at that moment.
I'll tell you something interesting. All I kept saying was, get Amos, get Amos, get Amos. Even when I was dying, get Amos, get Amos. Even when I was at the edge of the street with them holding my head up, with the lady holding my head up with her head, I kept telling her, get Amos. I could barely talk. Get Amos. I guess I could feel him departing from me. And all I wanted to know was, where's Amos? Where's Amos? Get Amos. Now, I'm telling this whole story because in hindsight, but in reference to, I didn't know what my husband was doing during all that time about going around and pulling the child out.
Right.
All I know, I was like, I got 6 sons. I'm in shock and I'm screaming. I got 6 sons. Where's my son? And someone said, we have 2. I'm like, no, no, no. I have 6 sons. And I don't remember the count getting past 4. And the reason why, and I understand that now, because Benjamin, he had threw him in the backyard.
I got you.
And then, of course, Amos wasn't thrown out. But I wanted Amos out. That's all I could think of. I wasn't thinking about myself in that moment. Love is pretty strong.
Yeah. Did anybody in the neighborhood come to help your husband try to retrieve people out of the house?
He did that so fast that they didn't have time to help him. This is microseconds. Brother was moving.
Really?
And that's why he got cut up so bad and he was injured as well, because he was moving.
So you want
The firemen said there's no way any of us should have got out.
Really?
Like, period. Yeah.
How do you guys think you got out?
The
Had to have a
grace of
plan.
God.
Outside of that, you had to have some type of plan, because in order
That's true.
there's something about the kids going to a meeting place. And so for how
Yeah.
did that even come about? Because it's almost like eyesight, you know what I mean? Like they know where to go. How did all that even come about?
Well, here's the thing. I was a homeschool mom. And being a homeschool mom, I mean, I ran homeschoolers for all of Southeast Texas. So we had scheduled field trips. We ran just like a school district. So we had our field trips, our science labs, our art classes, and all of that. And one of our field trips was to the Children's Museum. Now, I might add, at that point, when we took them to the Children's Museum, that was for pure fun. But that fun led to life-saving skills. At the Fire Museum, we learned how to make a fire escape plan. and taught our boys what to do. The three older ones, the one right under them is autistic.
Mm,
So they also knew to grab him
mhm.
and bring him with them. Yeah.
You talk
So
about
I want to
great.
mention, if you don't have a fire safety plan, please put one in place. We don't like to think about these type of things,
Mm.
but they can happen. So know the point to meet inside, the point to meet outside. Have a plan, practice the plan,
Mm.
and then know you'll be ready.
What happens after the fire? You get transported to the hospital. Everybody's been burnt is transported to the hospital. I take it. What was your
All the whole family.
How bad were the burns on the entire family? Do you remember?
Of course I do. This is the type of thing you don't ever forget because I bear the scars in my body right now.
Mm,
So here's the thing, they put us in the ambulance two by two. And obviously, Benjamin and myself, the other twin, we were the ones seriously injured to the point of we had 0% chance to make it. When I was riding in the ambulance with Ben, what was really deep to me was I could feel the paramedics' tears dropping on my body.
wow.
And I know these people are trained to control their emotions. And they were screaming at me, please breathe, baby, please breathe, please breathe. But then I started hearing this sound and it sounded like a wild animal. And then in my mind, it dawned on me, this is one of my children. I had no idea who. And that's when I passed out. So I was in a coma for a couple of months. I was
What?
intubated. Yeah, yeah. I passed out in the ambulance and I didn't wake up for a couple of months. Also, I was intubated that whole time as well. So we were the ones seriously injured. I know that now that Benjamin was also intubated. He wasn't in coma as long as I was. He probably was a month and 1 week, but I was in like a little longer. But he was just as bad as I was. So we were the ones severely injured. I had my two oldest, the other two youngest boys, they were in the hospital for about a week. It took a week to deal with their burns. They didn't need skin grafts and things like we did.
Mhm.
Benjamin and I probably had each well over 40 something surgeries to get our bodies repaired and to get through what we got through. And then my two older boys were in for a couple of days, and my husband just refused to stay because he said he had to take care of everybody. So
You lose,
that's how it
you lose,
went.
you lose everything. Speaking of brown sugar.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That'll put a smile on my face. Yeah.
Speaking of brown sugar, what, as far as you remember, what was his life like during that moment? You know, you lose everything. He's trying to hold family together. His wife is in a coma. Uh, he's a God-fearing man. You guys are all God-fearing. But there comes a moment where you still question why.
Yeah. Well, I did the questioning. He didn't have time for questioning, to be honest. He
Mm,
had to deal. He had to go to work because his insurance was paying for this tragedy, which was extremely expensive. Thank God he had a really good insurance going at that time. I mean, we're talking about multi-million dollar bills, for all the things and all the services that we needed. But his thing was making sure that I was okay and
mhm,
that Benjamin was okay. So every day he would go to work, he would come back to the hospital, he would spend time with Benjamin, and I'm talking about time, not a little 5 minute, okay, I laid eyes on you, let me get out of here, but time. He
mhm.
would spend time with me. He would go home and take care. Well, we didn't have a home at that time. The kids were staying with his cousin
Mm.
and him too. And then he'll go back and spend time with them. And that's basically how it went for him for a long time.
Were there any support from the community, the family? I mean, you lose everything. I mean, this is what I tell people, you know who your friends are, even family, when you can count them on your fingers. I tell people, everybody ain't your friend. And even your
That's right.
family may not be there. did the sense of community come together? Because this had to make the news in the Houston area, what was going on.
Oh my God, yes. Uh, all the channels. It really did. And yes, we were so supported that we had to give stuff away, literally. The community reached out. Actually, the staff thought I was a celebrity. Now, I didn't get a chance to see all these people, but apparently the first month that I was in, I had all of these out of state people fly in. Of course, all of my family from up north, all of his family from up north, a lot of my friends. And, that's why it's good to do good by people,
Right.
because when your time comes, they'll do good by you, you know. So I was extremely supported. Now that's very unique. I'm a unique situation in that that does not happen often.
Mhm.
But yeah, the staff thought I was a celebrity. So yes, Houston showed out,
Mm.
not only in just toys and clothes and furniture and all that kind of stuff, but financially as well.
How do you come out of recovery? What happens to your life? You got to start all
Well,
over
my
again. And
yes,
how bad
yes.
did you have to learn to walk all over again? And or did everything still like automatically re-trigger that moment?
No, sir. You start like a baby. My first therapy, when I got out of the hospital, I was going back to therapy every day. Well, 5 days a week, rather.
Mhm.
And my first therapy was stand up, sit down. I couldn't even do that by myself. My hands were really badly injured. So
Mhm.
I couldn't use my hands, and I was still getting surgeries on my hands and things after I was out of the hospital. So it was a long, tedious journey. No, when you don't move for that long, you lose everything. And you have to retrain yourself to walk, and do everything.
But you still remember the did the fire incident still trigger as well in your mind as trying to also you're dealing with two different things in your life. No, several different things. You're dealing with restarting over. You're probably wondering, where are we living? How are we going to pay for this? All this stuff hasn't set in pretty much what the community is doing, because now you have to learn how to walk all over again. You're worried about the condition of your child that's in the hospital with the same conditions. You're worrying about your other kids. Take me into what that must have been like for you.
Well, while I was in the hospital, all I wanted to do was be with my kids, period. First of all, I'm a homeschool mom. That meant my kids were always with me. And I also was a helicopter mom. And I have to admit it. So I was the mom where when it was time to do sleepovers, okay, that's cool, but you coming over here where
Right.
I could keep an eye out on what's going on, that type of thing. So my big thing was I wanted to see Benjamin, and the nurse kept telling me I'm not really ready to see him. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm ready to see him. Bring me my son. And when they rolled my baby in a little red wagon in there, and I saw him bandaged like I was, the reality of him going through the pain I was going through, I literally passed out at the sight of him. It just did a number on me. Just that visual,
Yeah.
because I know how much those bandages hurt. I know what it means. That meant he was getting them same scourgings I'm calling them scourgings. They weren't trying to hurt me, but it just hurt. The process hurt.
Right.
And you go through it daily.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe my baby is suffering like I'm suffering. So that was really, really tough. Another thing, when I was finally able to see my other four boys,
Yeah.
I'll never forget, they wheeled me out in a chair, which is pretty painful, but I'm like, I'll take the pain. I want to see my kids.
Right.
And when my autistic son saw me, he ran for his life because, of course, I didn't look like his mother. I had bandages everywhere. My hands were disfigured, and that just hurt my little heart. But my oldest son, I'll never forget, he grabbed his other two brothers and brought them to me. And he told them, he said, this is our mother, and she's hurt and she needs us. Now, everybody give her a hug. And I don't know. Yeah. So it was pretty nice.
Oh my God. So you go back home.
Hmm.
You go back home. What's it like for you? How do you mend the pieces? I mean, my heart goes out to you. I know people say understand. No, you don't. I can never understand what you've gone through, but my heart goes out to you that you had the strength to endure, overcome, and still triumph. So you get home, your husband sees you. How do you guys pull the pieces back together? How do you
Oh,
make the family back strong again?
it's really it takes work. That wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Fortunately for me, I married a jewel, and I know I keep bringing this up, but
Brown sugar.
yeah, I married a jewel. I remember, I'm gonna be honest with you. I remember he was bathing me because I had to be clean. All those sores, all those things, all my wounds had to be cleaned daily when I got out the hospital. And it takes hours to do that. And he would do this kind of stuff before he went to work to make sure I was clean and together. He took care of me. And I remember sitting there looking at him and wondering, what does this man, in my mind, I didn't say anything, think of me now? How can he look at me now? And it was as if he could read my mind. And I'll never forget, he looked me dead in my eye and he said, "You are the most beautiful thing I've ever laid eyes on," and kissed me on my forehead. And I'm gonna be honest, I was okay after that. I didn't care what nobody thought after that. And I made an error. Here's an error I made. All the emphasis was on me and Benjamin because we carried the outer scores. Not a lot of emphasis was put on the other boys who carried all of the inner scores.
Mhm.
And that didn't come out until about maybe 3 or 4 years later.
How did that come out with the other
It
boys?
came out well, with my oldest son, it came out in rebellion. The hurt, the pain he felt from losing, quote unquote, his twin. Both of my boys had their twin. I had this game where, Amos was Jonathan's twin. You're going to make sure your baby's okay. You're going to check on him. You're going to, his bottle and Joseph. And I made it a game, but they was actually helping mama out, you
Right,
know.
right, right.
But they're like their father. They're extremely responsible young men. And even at the fire, Jonathan, they told me it took about 5 to 6 adults to pin him down because he was going in that fire to get his baby, his responsibility. So
Right.
he felt God had betrayed us and he just went off on a tangent. And it took years, literally, for him to recover from that and for us to get through that. But I'm convinced if we had tapped into what he was going through, what he was dealing with earlier, it wouldn't have got as bad.
Right, right,
My second son, Joseph, he just one day we were having a family movie night. We like doing that. Having one tonight, by the way. But anyway, we have a family movie night. It's just one of the things we do. Even with my grown children, I do it.
right.
Grandkids, I do it. But he said, just all of a sudden said, "I'm a coward." And I'm like, "What the what? Who told you that? I'm all ready to jump on somebody." And he said, "Remember the fire." So he was dealing with severe survivor guilt because he was comparing himself to Jonathan, who ran in to get his twin. And he said, "I only saved myself." I'm like, "You're 7. You're only supposed to save yourself,
Mhm.
that type of thing." And then the third son, of course, he got teased a lot because he was burned badly on his ears, and I was in the schools and the people were teasing him about me. So we had to go through all of that. And I had to go through my own personal thing. Now, mind you, I'm dealing with all my kids and their hurts, their pains. I'm dealing with my own injuries. But what overshadowed all of that was the loss of that son.
Yeah.
That was something to get through. And I say it all the time. People say, and people, especially stupid people, and I'm sorry to be blunt like that, they'll make a statement like, "Have you gotten over that yet?" What are you talking about?
You don't get over it.
No. No, you don't get over. You get through. You learn to adapt with that pain.
When you say you learn to adapt and you learn to keep going, you took all that energy, all of those trials, and you put it into a book. Tell me about the book.
Well, the book was birthed because I started a nonprofit in memory of my son. And with that nonprofit, I began to work in the community, and then that became a nationwide thing. Then that became an international thing, supporting and helping burn survivors.
Mhm.
So people were saying, "Oh, Justina, you're such a blessing. Oh, your story is so amazing. You really need to share it and write a book." And I'm like, "I don't have time to write a book. Do you see all these things I'm doing?"
Right.
And then someone on my board said, "Well, if you write the book, the proceeds can go to your nonprofit." I'm like, "Oh, let's write the book."
That's an eye opener.
So 2 months later, we had a book, and I self-published that book. And then it got picked up by a New York publishing house a few years later.
Justina, how, let me use the right word. How much of your life, what you went through during that moment, how how difficult was it to write that book? Because now you're reliving.
Yes,
You're probably refocused on something that was blocked,
yes.
new things that now have surfaced. How difficult was it to really put that book together?
Andre, you hit the nail on the head. It was a journey to put that book together. Because one thing I was determined to do was be authentic,
Okay.
tell the real story, tell how I really felt. Sometimes being a faith based person, people over spiritualize their experience,
Mhm.
and they don't tell the truth about how they really felt. So
Mhm.
I talked about the lows and the highs.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was reliving it. It was painful at points. At some points, sometimes I had to stop and let my husband hold me, literally, and come back to it the next day.
Mhm.
Because as I wrote the book, I was really being honest with my own internal struggles and feelings that I was dealing with. So at the end, though, it was completely therapeutic. It was very therapeutic for me. And at the very end, when it was time to release it, I found it difficult to do so because it felt like my baby.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what is the world going to do with my baby? How are they going to accept my baby?
Mhm.
It was pretty deep. It was pretty deep experience. That literal pushing the button like it's in your hands now
Mhm.
was difficult. But when I did, I knew that book would change many, many lives.
You mentioned something. You had to put the book down several times.
Yeah.
Give me two times that you put it down and you almost said, I can't continue it.
Okay. I have a chapter called Loss of Control, where I'm talking about the whole aspect of when everything you can't control, well, not you can't control, that's not true. When you lose control of things that you're used to being in control of, what you wear, what you eat, what you could do. I'm laying in a hospital bed and everybody is making decisions for me
Mhm.
because I have no control. That was tough to look at the reality of that. My life literally was hanging in others' hands. That was rough. Really, really rough. But I showed also how I overcame that
Mhm.
because I start focusing on the things I can control. So I was a little ornery, Andre. I'm gonna be honest, but I could control. When they brought me grape juice, I could say I don't want grape juice. I
Right.
want orange,
You could have changed the
and that
narrative.
I
It's
could
some,
change the directive just in that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I did just to feel some control in my life. But that's one. Now, obviously, got to the moment where my husband, his cousin, and my pastor came in to tell me that we lost Amos. I'll never forget that moment ever. I'm intubated. I can't talk to them. I'm in excruciating pain. I could tell they're about to tell me something I don't want to hear by their faces. And then they tell me we lost one.
Mm.
That was a rough part to write, but it was part of the story. And I honestly, I felt like a slave tied to the whipping pole, because everything they kept telling me was like a lash to my heart, just one lash, one lash. And they were telling me the state of all my children at that time as well.
Out of this book, opportunities often show their face during the times that the rainbow isn't out. You had a lot of rainbows start to surface from this book. Let's talk about that one in particular one, your movie, your first series. What was that like, and what was the name of that series?
Okay, so that that's a beautiful analogy. I like that. So I'm still in that, Andre, the rainbow surfacing. I'm putting that in my conscious so I can use that
Okay.
because I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
But anyway, I tell you what, it's amazing what God can do. So someone read my book, and eventually I was approached because the screenwriter wanted to use part of that story in the movie that they were writing,
Mhm.
and they wanted me to play myself in that movie. And the name of that movie is a faith-based film called We Are Stronger. It deals with PTSD and the hope and healing that's in Christ. But my character is Aunt Hazel. I was the only one in the cast that had a chance to name my character. So I named my character Hazel Lewis after my grandmother
Okay.
who took care of me. Yeah. So yeah, and that was pretty awesome.
How did the movie turn out? What was that like? Did you even expect to get something
Of
like,
course not.
yeah,
Of
like,
course not.
how does that,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah,
crazy.
it was really exciting. I learned a lot. And obviously, the Lord had gifted me in the acting area, and I didn't know I even had that gift, because that morphed into a TV series, and that morphed into a second season of a TV series and other movies and documentaries. So I actually have an agent now, and I'm doing work as an actress.
What are some of the other movies that people can watch your performances?
It's a TV series called no, that's the movie, Breaking Strongholds.
Okay.
I just did a Christmas movie that will be out soon called Once Upon a Christmas.
Okay. You
That's
didn't
gonna,
play
yeah.
in that one.
I'm Gladys, so I'm a little comedic relief in that one.
Okay. So what is it that you what's the end game for you now? What's the end game for you now? You got what may appear to be a lot of stuff happening, but also some beautiful things that's happening for you right now. So what's next in store for you besides the movie deals? What else should the viewers know about you moving forward?
Well, here's what my last thing I want to do, and I have my nonprofit, the Amos House of Faith, and we have all kind of programs. But it's one thing I haven't done yet that I'm determined to do. I want to build a house called Amos Place. Well, I have a nonprofit. It's called the Amos House of Faith, and we have many programs that we do. But it's one that I have not gotten to yet that I'm determined to do, and it's called Amos Place. It will be a temporary housing for the caregivers of seriously burned patients on the John S. Dunn Senior Burn Unit
Mhm.
here in Houston. Those particular caregivers, what people don't understand about um, burn units, first of all, they're few and far in between.
Right.
And many burn patients are life flighted to their particular units,
Mhm.
meaning their caregivers, when they get there, they have nowhere to stay. They don't have food. They have parking. Have parking needs. And in the medical center in particular, it's extremely expensive. So they're already dealing with life and death situation.
Right.
I did an interview with a caregiver, and this man was bawling. He's like, my wife, they're asking me to make a decision for her. I'm fatigued. I have nowhere to stay. I'm running out of money. How am I supposed to make these kind of decisions?
Right.
And it tore at my heart. So that's what I got in mind, Andre. That's where my eye is on, getting that done.
How can the viewers reach out to you for guest appearances? And more importantly, how can they get that book so some of those proceeds can go to help you on your mission?
Absolutely. So the book, thecircleoffire.org, O-R-G. You can get it there. Also, you can always email me, justina@justinarpage.com.
And that's Justina. Did I
That
get
is correct.
that?
And then Justina R, like Renee, Page. Like a
Justina,
book, guys. Page.
do me a favor, leave the viewers with something positive before we wrap up today's episode.
Absolutely. I'll be glad to do so. Hope is the heartbeat of survival. Keep hope alive, whatever you do. Life is a thing that happens. It's just how we deal with life that matters where you go. It's not the circumstance that defines you, but the attitude that lives within you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show.